All right, and we're coming up on a gate here, but it looks like the Interdictor ship didn't get his bubble up in time. So we're going to go ahead and just pass right on through. If he would have gotten that up before I started my warp, I think he would have blocked me. So nice clear shot here. Whoa, 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 I'm not done yet. I'm going to go back through. I'm going to go fight this guy. You thought I was going to start the video? No, sir. Let's get back in here and fight this Interdictor. Now that I know the gate is clear on the other side and we've got only one person in this system, let's go ahead and set our orbit and we'll lock this guy down and see if we can grab him before he comes back through. He doesn't have his disruption bubble up, so he probably doesn't have that combat timer, but we will try and take him down anyway. We'll throw our sensor dampener on here and some nice damage into his shield here. He might not be paying attention. I think he might have seen me go through and just turned his bubble off and been waiting. It doesn't look like he's even locking back, so I think we kind of tricked him here by going through the gate, and we've got an AFK Interdictor. So sometimes it pays off to come back through the gate and engage that target, especially when you know you're going to get a 1 versus 1. Okay, now that we know he's AFK, let's go ahead and tighten our orbit up a little bit, get down into that 17-kilometer range. We're not hitting him as hard in the 20-kilometer range. Yep, throw all of our DPS mods on him before he comes back. Make sure he doesn't have any shield, because these are usually shield tank ships. And we will burst him down real quick and get a nice little AFK kill mail coming through this gate. Yep, still not locking on. Looks good here. Nice optimal. We'll go ahead and set our approach or our optimal a little closer. Just want to maintain our DPS here. And yep, finish him off. Very nice. All right. Now you can start the video. Hello pilots, and welcome back to another Eve Echoes video. Today I'm going to be doing some more solo hunting in my Fiend. This is my favorite ship to use, and I just want to get back to having some more fun flying what I want to fly, at least for one video, and then we'll try some more experimental stuff. We've scanned down a Raven battleship here. We'll have to be a little bit careful with the missiles. These things can be used as bait sometimes, especially with that missile implant that allows you to lower or I should say increase the damage application of your missiles. So a little bit careful on this. We'll go in and hit our orbit at our normal orbit distance, about 16-17 kilometers, and now we're running a sensor dampener, so we'll see if that messes up his lock-on time, especially with the Dragon Chant nanocore. So landing here, I am a little bit farther off than I like to be, about 73 kilometers. We're going to have to run to him. It'll be faster to go straight to him than it would be to warp to that 150 kilometer distance and use our scan to jump on top. So we'll just go straight to him here. Hopefully he doesn't jump away in time. And yeah, it doesn't look like he's paying attention. Maybe AI ratting here in the system. So we'll get to our optimal. Looks like we got him locked down. And we will begin applying our DPS here. We'll activate one heat sink for now. With my level 10 GU, these things last about 35 seconds each. So that's about a minute, 10 seconds of sustained increase attack speed for our laser damage. That'll charge up our implant pretty quickly. We want to try and get it up to a max of 83. I'm still using the level 30 focus crystal, although I do want to improve that pretty soon. And I think it's safe to say at this point, because he's not locking me back, we do have an AI ratter here who's going to be AFK. We'll go ahead and throw on the Dragon Chant, just go full DPS and try and burst this down before any other players come into this system. One of the most difficult things that I'm trying to deal with right now is trying to take out these ships as fast as possible so that more people can't come in and save them, but also have enough defense to defend myself in case something jumps in on me or the battleship starts fighting back. So kind of trying to maintain that balance of DPS and defense. Oh, and we see we have a slasher that just warped in here. These things are so fast to lock on. I think that even if I try to deactivate my bubble now, he's going to have me pinned down by the time it deactivates. So let's just go ahead and finish off this battleship anyway. And if we do the 1 versus 1 trade, then that's just what we're going to have to end up with. There's still only 2 other players in this system, so it looks like just the Slasher and the Raven. And I know the Slasher is not going to apply any DPS to us orbiting at 40 kilometers. So we will see if our warp stability is able to break that Slasher's hold on us after we finish off this battleship. I do have some warp stability from my golden nanocore in that secondary effect slot. I won't tell you how much, because that might hurt me in the end when somebody's watching my videos and knows how much points to put on me, but I have warp stability in my nanocore. So far it hasn't really come into play, but I like to have it there just in case. It's a nice little backup in case like a Cinnable or another cruiser gets on top of you with a scram. All right, so battleship down. Let's go ahead and loot him up while this slasher continues to orbit us. Probably calling for help, but nobody's coming to help him. We'll deactivate our warp bubble, pick up the loot, and start approaching something in the distance. So now's the time that we're going to see if this slasher can really lock us down or if we're going to be able to get away. Been having a lot of problems dealing with slashers lately. They seem to be the premier tackle ship, at least for regular points. We'll see how we deal with this one, see if we have enough to get away from him. Looks like we are able to pick up a little distance from his disruptor range, and it might just be enough to warp off. Yep, there goes his disruptor points on us, and we're going to go and warp off to safety. Very nice. Okay, so it looks like that slasher wasn't able to keep up with our speed very well. We'll go find a safe spot and check out the kill mail. Well, let's open it up here, and yeah, just a basic T9 Raven battleship. Definitely was doing some straight PvE. Oh, an armored tank Raven. That's something new. Okay. Interesting also that he's running with target painters and NOS. And of course we didn't get the dust heavy salvage drone to drop. Just my luck. All right, let's find another fight. Okay, I am up here in TSC space and I have a daredevil that is chasing me. So we're going to see if we can engage him on a gate in an empty system. Yep, there he is, Blackjack Sparrow. Not sure what kind of mods he's running, but we'll see if we can get him to land on this bubble at about 27 kilometers off the gate. And then if we can get a couple of straight shots on him, maybe he'll try and pass through the gate and go straight through us, and we can get that nice line of sight, so to speak. As long as he's traveling in a straight line, we'll do a lot better application of our laser. But if he starts to orbit us, it's going to be very difficult to hit him, to hit a small ship that's going to move as fast as a daredevil can move. But all we need is a few seconds for him to not be able to adjust. And here he comes right now. So we'll see if we can lock him down. He is going to hit our bubble at about 28 kilometers. So we'll begin our approach, try and get into our optimal range in a straight line. He is going to start orbiting us, so that's going to be a lot more difficult to maintain our line. Oh, it looks like he's pulling away. No, it's coming back. Okay, yep, he wants this fight. Okay, let's see how we can do with our application. He's got one web and a tracking disruptor. That's going to be difficult. Okay, web is off. Nope, back on. Okay, it's got a web, tracking disruptor, and a disruptor to hold us in his mid slots. So we'll see. I don't think it's going to adjust our distance on our weapons that much, but we do want to try and get into a better optimal position here. We activate that dragon chant, but it's only going to break his hold on us for a little bit. Okay, I think it's time we start to approach the gate. If we can approach the gate, get a little bit of distance, then he's going to start to chase us. And you'll see here, as he starts to chase us, he's going to come in a straight line, and we're going to apply damage a little bit better, just a little bit. Not great damage, because he's still a small ship. But I think that'll be just enough to either finish him off. Getting into his armor here. Couple more lucky hits and we can... No, okay, he's pulling away. Alright, hey, I'll take that. So I think what we've learned from this is that these small tackle frigates are having a hard time keeping up with my straightaway speed. They're trying to orbit me, but their orbit is only going to be around 2,500 meters per second. And if we go in a straight line, we can make them chase us. And if they're chasing you, they're coming at you in a straight line, which is going to apply better DPS. So definitely learn something from that fight. So we'll give it 07 in local, and we will move on to the next fight. All right, this time I'm chasing a daredevil myself. So we passed through the gate before him. We're going to try and lock him down before he gets away and try our top speed against his. We'll have to hit our approach, get into our optimal approach range, was about 16 kilometers, and hope that we don't slingshot too much. There's a nice straight shot, but he is pulling away from us, 27. Yeah, he's going to get outside of our bubble and be able to get away. This is a situation which I wish I had the large afterburner, and I don't. Oh well, what can you do? Okay, I've scanned down this system and I don't see anybody ratting or mining, so we'll go ahead and try and pass through the gate. But here we got an Orthrus sitting right here, perfectly about 30 kilometers off. I don't know if he's AFK or not, but I'm going to definitely take this fight because I want to test myself against this faction cruiser. I have not fought one before. We'll throw up our bubble so that he can't warp away, and we'll try to see how our speed matches his. We're going to need to try and get into 16-kilometer range, but we don't have a web or a scram to turn off his micro warp drive. Now, these ships are really fast, and they're going to be able to lock you down from a long range because they have the bonus to the disruptor range. And 30 kilometers is not where I want to fight him. So let's go ahead and turn back towards the gate. We're going to try a slingshot. That's right. Instead of trying to track this thing down, we're just going to go ahead and approach the gate, just like we did with that Daredevil. It's going to pull him away, but his natural need to try and orbit us at his optimal of 30 kilometers is going to pull him directly back towards us. Now, these things don't have as good of inertia as us, so we can just turn right around and reapproach once we get his speed up, and he's not going to be able to adjust as quick as we are. This is one of the reasons why I run an inertia an inertia rig in my engineering slots, is to do those quick turns, and you can see it puts us right in our optimal to lay in the DPS. Now, I don't have a web or a scram on here, but I think that we have just enough speed to maintain a close enough optimal to really put some hurt on this ship. And yeah, he's trying to get away, but he is inside our bubble now. He's not able to break free of our bubble from that slingshot, and we do have just enough speed to finish him off here. There we go. Nice shots now that we're outside of his shields. And very fragile cruiser, the Orthrus is. Very nice. Good fight. That is one of the reasons why I don't use that ship. It is very fast if you go all 3 auxiliary thrusters in it, but it's really hard to maintain an orbit on something less than a battleship. So we use that slingshot method to kind of get him to reapproach us in that straight line, and then we adjust faster than he's able to. Very nice. Okay, let's get to a nice spot and check out that kill mail. 3.6 billion, very nice for a faction cruiser. He was running long range missiles that probably didn't have a good job applying to us. 1 large shield booster and a lot of warp disruption. This is very similar to how I would run an Orthrus, except for the rigs. I think you either go with all 3 auxiliary thruster rigs, or you throw a inertia one in there to maintain your orbit. But either way, great fight, and let's move on. Okay, so this next clip that I'm throwing in here is not a fight, but it is something that I'm hoping someone can explain to me what happens. So you can see I scanned down a Scion C and an APOC in the same anomaly, and we're going to warp to that APOC and see where it puts us. Now, I warped in at 100 kilometers, so we should be about 100 kilometers off the center of the anomaly. So most of the time when I warp in on the anomaly at 100 kilometers, I'll be far enough away from the ship that I can open up my scan results and warp onto the target directly. So at least 150 kilometers away from the target, I should be able to warp right on top of them. So as we land here, you can see I'm landing over 200 kilometers away. I'm going to open up my scan results, go back to that finished scan result, and try to warp directly onto this APOC Navy issue. But instead of warping to the target, right at the center of the anomaly, I'm going to warp off about 4,000 kilometers away. I cannot think of a reason why this would have happened, why that APOC scan result would have been 4,000 kilometers away from the anomaly he was ratting. But if anybody else can help me out, I'd really appreciate it. This is one of those situations where I need your guys' expertise to fill me in. Why did I warp 4,000 away from this APOC? I warped back to the anomaly by using one of the loot containers, one of the wrecks that he was ratting, but he's already gone, so we missed our chance on that. I think even if I would have slow-boated it into him, going 3,000 MS, I probably wouldn't have caught him before he warped off, but it's kind of disappointing because I don't know why I warped away when I was 150 kilometers away from him. So help me out here, write it in the comments, let me know what I did wrong, and hopefully I can avoid that in the future. Alright, next fight here, we are scanning down a large anomaly, and it's going to be a Megathron Navy issue. Now, I haven't fought a Megathron Navy issue in a while, but one of the things I like about fighting them is that they don't have the increased web range that a Vindicator or an Annihilator would have, or a Balgorn, for example. So it's a lot easier to orbit them at that 17-kilometer range and not have to worry about being pinned down. As long as we can get on top of them and tackle them quick, I think this should be a pretty easy fight. We are going to have to watch out for local though, because there are 6 players here, and I know that some Megathron Navy issues are going to be close-up tanked ships, so they're going to be very difficult to wear down, especially as an armor tank, and we're going to be doing primarily EM damage. So this might take a little bit too long for us to take out this ship, but we'll warp in here, we'll try and tackle him, and we'll put our DPS to the test and see how fast we can do this. All right, so as we land, we are coming in pretty good, about 60 kilometers off of our target. That's close enough to where we can turn on our afterburner and speed over to him. We'll see if he's AI ratting or locks us in immediately. That's usually a good indication. He has about 1/4 of his shield left, but I'm not too worried about the shield because most of the time these things are going to be armor tanked, and that's going to be their primary defense, and all of their resists are going to be put into armor. So once we can get down in here, yeah, he is locking us back, so he's not AFK. So he's not going to be an AI ratter here. He just didn't get a chance to warp off before we jumped on him. It's going to take him a long time to lock here because we do have that sensor dampener in the mid slots now. And not only is that going to make him take a long time, but as soon as he does lock us, we can turn on our dragon chant, break that lock, and make him do it all over again. So it buys us a lot of early time. And we are just tearing through his armor here. This is very unexpected. Usually these things take a lot less damage once you get them into armor. But you can see we're doing almost double the DPS as we were to his shields. We are past 50% armor, still tearing him to pieces, and he still hasn't locked us down. Our dragon chant and that sensor dampener are keeping him from even locking on. So we won't have to worry about any large newts or anything. Local hasn't spiked. This looks pretty good. We're getting into his hull, doing some serious damage with that double heat sink. And we are at max focus charge implant charge. We will approach to 9 to be able to scoop up his loot real quick. I'm not even that worried about him killing us on the approach, because by the time he would web us, we would have him dead anyway. And there we go. So actually a very quick fight, much quicker than I thought a up-close Megathron would be built for. We'll have to take a look at his build in the kill mail and see what he was running with. Maybe he was going primarily offense and then just warping off if he got too much heat. But we will try to find his loot on the table here. Having a little problems. There we go. Okay, we will loot all of this stuff and we'll go find a safe spot to check out that kill mail. I don't have a spot saved yet. I didn't save one on the way over to this anomaly. So as we warp to the sun, we're going to go ahead and open up our bookmarks and save one about halfway. This will create a safe spot where they're going to have to scan you down in order to find you. And all you have to do is save it as another location here. We'll save it as 2. And then we'll set it as our autopilot. So we can just autopilot over there as soon as we land at the sun. And then we'll be in kind of a much better spot to kind of hang out for a little bit. Oh, this is where their citadel is. So it looks like they've got their base right next to the sun, and there's a Typhoon 2 here. I'm wondering if we get a 2-for-1 here. Let's, maybe this guy's AFK. Let's kind of wander in here from a distance and see if we can grab him as well. I'm not sure if my warp bubble is going to stop him from docking up, or if he has a timer. Oh, we got another one. This is a Courser 3 Interdictor. Don't like the small ships. Don't really want to deal with that. But we are going to try our luck here and see what we can come up with. Typhoon 2s are going to be shield tanks, so I should be able to apply pretty good DPS to him, and we're at full health from that last fight. So I'm not too worried about his DPS, especially because we got the afterburner and we're a small target. Okay, so we got him in our bubble here. He is locking onto us, but we have the sensor dampener, so it's going to take him a little while to lock on. The Courser is going to dock up. So I'm not sure if he saw us and didn't want to fight, or if he just doesn't. He might be reshipping, so that's something we have to watch out for. Okay, so he can dock. He can dock at the Citadel as long as he doesn't engage us. We'll go ahead and approach this planet in the distance. Oh, wait, I'm webbed, and I'm... Okay. Oh, I see. The Courser went in, and he's taking control of the Citadel, and we are webbed and scrammed, so we can't get away. And we're going to be a slower target for this Typhoon to hit us. Very smart tactics by them. I've never actually fought on a Citadel like this with multiple people, so this is a first for me. We'll keep approaching the planet, and we should be able to get out of web range, but we are going to have to rely on our large booster, and I might hit my DCU right here just to mitigate some of this DPS. I don't want to be webbed down because Typhoon 2s have really good damage application with their missiles. So he's going to have a really easy time to hit us, even if we orbit him, and we're not going to be as fast since we're going to be webbed. So just fighting this situation too close to the Citadel is not going to be worth it. Let's go ahead and warp off here. Oh, and we just missed the Noctis that was warping in as well. Okay, so no 2 for 1, but an interesting engagement nonetheless. Something I'm going to have to be aware of in the future is watching out for those Citadel mods being able to lock us down. Let's check out the kill mail here. And 8.4 billion on the Megathron Navy. Very nice. Looks like he was running snub nose for close up. Oh, and shield tank. Shield tank Megathron Navy. Very interesting. 3 NOS and 2 webs in the mid slots, but we were too far away for him to hit us.
Drive active.
Okay, next fight here. I'm scanning down an Inquisitor Anomaly, and we've got a carrier, a Thanatos, which is an armor carrier, and an interceptor that is in there as well. We'll warp to the Anomaly, and we should have enough ability to get away from a carrier with the Dragon Chant. A little bit worried about the interceptor being able to tackle us, but a lot of times these carriers will warp off as soon as a ship comes into local, and he might have left some loot behind. So I kind of want to come in here and see what he's left. If the boxes are unlocked and the Anomaly is finished, we might be able to get a good score here. We will have to be very careful of the interceptor though. Even though it's not a executioner 2, he might be able to get underneath our guns and orbit us at 0, and we have too hard of time hitting him. So something to watch out for as we warp in here and check out the Anomaly. See, looks like no elite Rex from this level 2. We'll go to level 3 and see if he's still hanging out. So I'm definitely trying to test myself against bigger and better ships. I think probably the Vass and the Super Carrier a little out of reach, but I do want to try and see how I can apply to a carrier. So we'll see if he's in this Anomaly still. And Thanatos, I believe, is a armor tanked carrier, so it's going to be a lot more defensive. But yeah, it looks like he's warped off, and we got a whole pile of loot here with an interceptor. Okay, we don't want this thing to lock us down, but he hasn't been targeting us yet. So let's go ahead and approach him to our optimal. See if we can lock him real quick. If we can get that sensor dampener on him also, we might be able to shoot him before he... Oh, just one shot. I wasn't expecting that, for him to go down that quickly. Looks like it was just kind of a looting interceptor. So we will pick up the wreck. And yeah, capsule warps off. No point in putting our bubble up because they can go through bubbles, but looks like we're going to get free reign on the loot here. So very nice. We'll see about how much we get from the boxes and the wrecks. Yeah, about 300 million it ended up being, so very nice. Minus those 2 filaments, about 180 million for just warping in here, so very nice score. Let's check out the kill mail. About a 130 million. Little interceptor hauling ship, nothing too fancy, and nice to get that one-shot kill. Flying through Kraken space here, we're going to land on this gate, and we've got a Marzio sitting on the gate. I'm not sure if he's waiting for me or not, but he is a little bit too close, so we're probably going to go through regardless. And we'll see if we can catch him on the other side. If we can pop through, get him to engage us about 20 kilometers off, we might be able to circle him and do enough DPS to him, especially if he doesn't have a prop mod to get back to the gate. So we'll see if he's paying attention here. We'll kind of hang out on this side of the gate, be ready to go. We don't want to break our cloak too early. Yeah, let's just approach. Let's get a little bit closer just in case. We don't know which side of the gate he's going to pop out. He is going to join us. Okay, he's joined the system here. So we got our bubble up. He's not going to be able to warp away. We're just going to see how our DPS applies to him next to the gate and see if we can kind of take him down. If we can get through his shields, it should drop pretty quick, even though it is a battleship. These things don't have as much resist as the Navy issue battleships. Those things, the Navy issues have a lot more base resist and a lot more defensive. But these new faction ones, as soon as you can get past their resistances, you should be good to go. Taking a long time to break cloak here. I don't know if he maybe hasn't made up his mind if he wants to engage us or not. Oh, there he is. Okay, let's jump on him real quick. Get a good distance. We want to be outside of his web range when we engage. He is locking us back, but we have that sensor dampener, so it's going to take him a little while to lock us. Let's start putting some DPS, double heat sink, onto his shield and power up our implant. Hard for me to tell from this angle if he is making his way back to the gate or not, but he does have us red boxed, so it looks like he is going to try and hit us, which is going to give him a timer regardless. which is perfect. We want him to have that timer because that's going to be, he's not going to be able to get through the gate once he has that combat timer. So it looks like he does want the fight, but we are doing a great job of avoiding all of his DPS. And he's not able to web us because we're outside of his range. He doesn't have a Newt or a Nos. So this is great DPS. Doing really good on his shields here. Did pop that Dragon Chant, so he's going to have to relock us with that sensor dampener on. This is one of the 1-2 combo that I wanted to try out. But he did lock us down pretty quick, so it didn't take too long. I might have to replace that sensor dampener. It doesn't really last. You know, it's a one-trick pony. Once you activate that Dragon Chant, you get that relock timer on them with that sensor dampener, but then once they finally do lock you that second time, it's pretty much going to be a useless mod in your mid slots. All right, so we're getting him about 50% of his shield, and it looks like we're doing a little bit more damage as we go. We've got almost, max charge on our Focus Crystal, but our DPS mods are down, so we're just going to be continuing to maintain here. He is repping a little bit, so we know he has at least one booster, but we're still able to apply a lot of DPS, so he doesn't have a whole lot of resist. Yeah, 4,300, that's a nice hit. Getting him down here. Let's take him out. Hopefully he doesn't head back towards the gate once he realizes that he's not going to be able to hit us. So even with his little bit of slingshot there, he's only able to get us to about 15 kilometers, so not in range of his webs. And we got another one in local here. Okay, I think I recognize that name. It might be time to head out. Let's be prepared. Zoom out, look for a planet. Ready to go. Still 16 orbit. Come on, let's get him down into armor. Okay, nope, there it is, capital ship.
This is the worst.
I don't know if that Marzio was bait or not, but we had him dead to rights on this gate. So we'll try and turn off our bubble here, approach the asteroid belt in the distance, and hopefully we can dodge this Astarte's drones long enough to get away. We do have the DCU active, but it doesn't look like the drones are doing any damage to us at this point. So not sure if he's just waiting for us to get out, but our bubble ends and we're going to warp off to this asteroid belt and save our ship. So at least we got away unfazed. Good fight in local and missed opportunity. Oh well. All right, another filament over into AOA space, and we are scanning down our Rorqual in a mining belt. So let's warp to him and just kind of see about how much damage we can do. I don't fully expect to be able to take this ship down. There are a lot of people in local. I think it was about 26 last time I checked. Yeah, let's head over to this Rorqual. So my goal is not necessarily to take this ship out, because I know he's going to get some good response by the time I tackle him. But the thing I want to do is not only test my damage, but kind of bait with this ship and see if we can get some other ships to come in here and take them out with our fully charged implant. So landing on the Rorqual here, he is right there at the center of the asteroid belt. We're going to turn on our bubble and we'll start our orbit and start applying our DPS. We're going to have to watch and see if he has any drones that come out, any debuffs like a large neutralizer, and see how he responds to this. We're doing pretty good damage on his shield so far, but I expect him to have at least one shield booster, so this is probably going to get healed up really easily. Probably activate my Dragon Chant ability pretty soon here. It doesn't really help me escape from ships because of after you activate it, there's a 30-second cooldown before you can warp off. So it's not like the Voyage Core where you just kind of shoot off into space and get a free warp away. You really have to plan it out and use it wisely. And using it late in the fights has not been helping me escape. So about halfway into our implant full charge here, we are doing some decent DPS. Let's go ahead and make sure we got a tighter orbit. I don't want to orbit at 18 kilometers or so. My optimal is 16. So we'll tighten up that orbit a little bit. It doesn't look like he's sending out any drones to do any damage to us anyway. So we'll continue to do our DPS here, charge our implant, kind of test his shield, test his resistances, and watch local for any spikes. We'll turn on the second heat sink and Dragon Chant here, put a little bit more pressure on his healing capabilities, especially now that we're about 76-79% charge on our implant. We'll kind of see how he responds. Does look like he has a little bit higher resist now because we're only doing about 1,700 damage per hit, whereas when we first landed on him, we were doing about 2,800. So not sure if he just didn't have his defensive resist mods activated or not. But even with that second heatsink and the Dragon Chant, you can see we're doing under 2,000 DPS per hit. I wish there was a way, maybe a visual representation of some way to see if they have a battery in the low slots or not, because him boosting is technically fine. You can see he's boosted himself right back up to full health. So we're not really making any progress. Oh, and we got our enemy here. Got a Courser 3 landing in the belt here. And a second one jumps in here. We got a Salios coming in. So I think it's time for us to head out and reevaluate our situation here. We got 2 ships that have warped in to protect this work wall. Luckily, our bubble was almost done with its complete cycle, so we were able to turn it off pretty quickly, and we got out before that Courser 3 was able to drop his bubble. But we will jump to this planet here, find a safe spot, maybe check our scan again. That was the first thing I scanned down in this system, so there might be an AI router in here, especially with the 27 in local on the local list. So we'll just get to a safer spot here, open up the scan. Yeah, this planet, not a direct planet, because those ships are going to know that we warped to this planet. So we're going to hit our autopilot to the safe spot that I set up earlier. And this way they're going to have to scan us down. This will buy us a little bit more time. You never want to be opening up your scan and checking results in an unsafe location. And then all of a sudden you get that message saying you're under attack. That's a bad feeling. In fact, now that I've warped to another new planet, I think I will go ahead and set a second safe zone just so that I can warp back and forth between safe zones instead of warping from planet to safe zone and so forth. It'll make it even harder for them to track me down. I don't know if they have a explorer ship with good scan ability, because I know that if you got 555 on like an Astro or a Stratios, you might be able to scan me without me getting that notification. So we'll just continue to jump around here until we feel safe. Set up another autopilot and get ready to go. Another thing I like to do is when I land, I'll turn on my afterburner and double tap into space so that I go in a straight line. So if somebody does scan me down, by the time they land on me, I'll be a good, 50 to 70 kilometers away from that scan result that they finished on. So now at this point, it's been a while since I scanned last. I'm going to go ahead and scan again and see if anything has changed. This will allow us to reevaluate that asteroid belt as well and see what ships are going to be sitting with that Rourke wall. I don't really plan on warping back in on him. He could defend himself pretty easily. We do have one target in an Inquisitor, but that's going to be hard to get to before he warps off. So we will just scan down this asteroid belt one more time. Yeah, we got the Courser 3 and the Salios still protecting him. I'm thinking, you know what? Maybe we just warp back in on those 2 ships and see if we can take them out. That Rorqual didn't have any defensive mods on us and any drones to launch. And I think that if we can burst down the Salios, the Courser 3 I'm not too worried about. Let's scan down this Inquisitor and see what ship is also ratting in this system. No, I don't really want to. Yeah, we still got this one. Okay, so still 3 ships here. Let's go ahead and warp in and check it out and see what they're doing. The Salios is still coming up on scan, so that means it's not cloaked, which is a little bit confusing. I don't know why you would run one without a cloak on it. We'll warp in on the Anomaly at 100 and kind of see what we're working with. I definitely don't plan on trying to go out through the gate of this system, because I'm sure by now they've got some kind of a camp set up to block me on both sides. So I'll probably end up logging out in one of my safe spots. So we'll just warp in here. Oh, no, we got another ship. A Hell. Okay, really glad that I warped in at 100 here. This is going to give me time to get away. If I would have warped in too close, that Courser would have bubbled me in and I would have been gone. So that was a good little scouting opportunity. Oh, the Hell disappeared. Oh, that's interesting. That means we just have the same 3 ships now. Looks like the Hell warped off. We might have an opportunity here, because that Hell's going to take a long time to warp. I think once we land, we'll come back. And we might just take this fight. Yeah, let's open up our scan results again, find that asteroid belt, and let's get a good warp in. I don't want to warp in at 100. That'll give him too much time to react, but I also don't want to warp in at 0, because that'll put me right on top of the Salios. So let's warp in at about 40, and so that we can maintain a nice orbit around that Salios. We want to stay out of his web and scram range. His scram's not going to do anything to us, but usually these things have 1 or 2 webs, and if that slows us down too much, we're going to take way too much damage. Especially if he's using autocannons or the close-up cannons. And if we get webbed down underneath our guns, it's going to be really hard to hit him. So we want to warp in at a distance and see if we can maintain an orbit around him when we land. Okay, about right where we wanted to be, about 45 kilometers off. Oh, and they launched a bubble.
You don't understand. I'm not locked in here with you. You're locked in here with me.
The Courser 3 has launched his bubble, and that's going to put up a huge anti-warp field around this whole battlefield. So his other two friends are not going to be able to warp off, and we're going to get a free chance here at these two small ships. Even though I set my own bubble, it's just because I don't know how long that Courser 3 bubble is going to last. And we want to apply as much damage to this ship as we can. So we activate our Dragon Chant Nanocore, and I'm going to change to an approach instead of an orbit. This is going to put me in a straight line and allow me to apply my damage a lot better with lasers. When you're going in a straight line, you can see there, his DCU probably just ended. We got 1, 2, 3. Yeah, huge hits into his hull and gone Celius. Okay, let's switch over to this Courser 3. Same thing, it's a smaller ship. We want to approach instead of orbit. Doesn't look like he's moving around or trying to engage us with it. And that one's gone as well. Very nice. He was trapped in there with me. Let's pick up his loot on these two ships. I'm not too worried about the Workwall, even though he is now launching that large neutralizer at us. I don't plan on engaging him here. Let's just pick up this loot, turn our bubble off, and warp away. I think anything else that follows us, plus we have to worry about that hell coming back, because at this point, he's probably warping his way to this Workwall as well. And we don't want to get caught in this bubble when a capital ship lands. So even though my bubble is off, the Courser 3 bubble is going to linger after he dies. And we're going to have to afterburner out of this. We'll find a planet in the distance and approach it. And it shouldn't take too long with our speed to get outside of the range. Tap warp.
Warp drive active.
And yeah, almost losing capacitor here, but we are able to warp away. So very nice little engagement there, especially because I had no intentions of trying to kill the Rorqual, and they came to us. And very nice loot, a little bit over 600 million in loot from those two ships. So great engagement, great encounter. Let's check out the kill mails. Got a 4.7 billion kill on the Celios. We'll save that. Very nice. Didn't get the rapid fire mod to drop. And a 2.8 billion on the Courser 3, which is actually a lot higher than I thought. So very happy with those results. We got our kills, we got our ISK, and we're going to take off and find another fight. Okay, and we are still in Kraken space, scanning down another target here. Looks like we've got somebody in local. And APOC Navy issue. Okay, perfect. Let's try and warp in here. We'll warp in at about 90 kilometers, and hopefully the target is far enough away that we can warp straight to them afterwards. Usually these things are not going to be fighting close up. APOC Navy issues, regular APOC strikers, they're going to be long distance ratting ships. They're not as sturdy as, say, a Megathron or Vindicator or one of the other ships. And part of the problem is that the large laser's optimal range for the pulse large rate lasers is only about 44 to 50 kilometers, so they usually can't fight too up close because ships will get underneath their guns. All right, looks like this is a good enough area to open up our scan and warp back to him. Dang it, nope, we're a little bit off. We are a little bit off. We're gonna have to approach at a distance and try to get to that 150 kilometers. It's too far to slow boat in, even with our afterburner speed. But we will open up our scan once again, and now he should be far enough away. Okay, let's warp straight to this target. Okay, and we are going to see if we can get a nice tight orbit around him and lock him down. It does look like he's ratting up close though. This is a little bit closer than I'm used to. One ship left on this wave, and hopefully we can get back to our optimal before he's able to lock us down. Lock the rat there on accident. That's okay, we've got our ship here. And we will start our orbit. He's locking us back. He's definitely not AI ratting or AFK. So we'll try and get... Oh, I haven't turned on my afterburner. Oh, that's going to slow us down. Okay, turn on the afterburner. And we are... Oh, no. Oh, boy.
Why, God? Why are you doing this to us?
We activated our afterburner way too slow, and we were still in his range of webs. Oh, we are down into our hull. Oh my gosh, these mobs, because he's fighting close up, these mobs are also putting their debuffs on us, and we are having a hell of a time dealing with this. I think we're just going to need to warp off. This is way too much DPS. We did break his lock with the Dragon Chant, and we break the NPCs, but we need to get the hell out of here. I do not like being in Hull. He's applying way too much DPS to us. And we got to get away before he locks us again, because then we're going to be in a straight line to him. So let's go. We have to wait out that Dragon Chant timer. Can't warp away yet. Can't warp. Oh, there's another big hit. Another big hit. Oh my gosh, see? We're in the line of sight here. And another battleship warps in just in time.
Warp drive active.
Alright, we're gone. Okay. We were going to have a hard time dealing with that ship regardless because of the other battleship that warped in. But man, so close. Way too close for comfort there. But we got away. I mean, that just goes to show you one little mistake. Not turning on that afterburner right away when I landed made it so that he was able to get his webs on top of us before we were able to get out of sight of web range. And then the rats spawning on us at the same time. Just perfect recipe for disaster. Oh, my baby. What have they done to you? The scars, the pain. All right, that'll end it for this video. Thank you very much for watching. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them in the comment section below. Make sure to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for all future content from my channel. And just a small note before I go, I just want to make sure that everyone is aware, I am still learning, I'm still new at this, and even though I do get a lot of kill mails and take down a lot of big ships, it's still a learning experience, and what I try to do is gain some knowledge from every single fight and every single encounter I have, and in return, pass that knowledge on to other people who watch the videos. So I really appreciate your continued support, your advice. Anytime you correct me or make a comment in the comment section that kind of like educates me a little bit, I do appreciate that as well. I am way beyond thinking that I know everything that there is in this game or thinking that I'm an expert. So I'm going to go dock up and repair my ship, and I will see you in the next Gromire Games Eve Echoes video.